Do y'all hear this? Preachers are welcome back once again. She's gonna pretend like I'm not on live. Let me open this up. I'm outside today, people. A little unorthodox, but hey, we're gonna let it do what it do. We're about to have a quick little chat. I'm on the phone, so bear with me. All right. I am back. Welcome to the conversation. This is Amuna. Under this tree here. It is nice and breezy outside today. Hopefully you get outside, enjoying the weather. They're like, Mommy, you promised to take me to the park. So here I am. The phone is ringing. My apologies. Anywho, let me just get into this conversation real quick. So, hold on one second. Hey, what's going on, Judah? What is going on? I'm trying to make it pull it up on the screen. Let me try one more time. Like, Amuna, why are you going live? I don't. Anywho, there's a Bible scripture that talks about generational curses. Yeah, it's a nice day today. There's a number of scriptures, but one specifically in the book of Deuteronomy speaks to this generational curses. And many years ago, I came across it and just really sat with it for a while, right? And I've been sitting with it ever since. And if you've read your text, then you know it's in there. And when you get to the book of Deuteronomy, after the laws are given, there's some admonition given to the children of Israel that if you don't comply with these laws, if you don't follow instructions, then you can expect that these things are going to happen to you, right? In this particular text, it says that the iniquities, it tells do not bow down to idols, right? And then it tells you what will happen for those who do. The iniquities will be revisited. As soon as I'm talking, homie, when I was out here, homie was not mowing the lawn. Now look at homie over here. He was like, "Ooh, she talking, let's mow the lawn." And you could tell he don't need to mow the lawn because the lawn is already mowed. Anywho, it says the iniquities, I can't speak lately. Iniquities will be revisited to the third and fourth generation. So that in itself is a biblical definition of a generational curse. If you even break down that one sentence smaller, it also tells you why and how a curse can be recycled and revisited. Iniquities is really simple. Sometimes we make it really difficult to understand. Let me know if you guys can hear me. But iniquities are what basically puts the battery in a curse's back, right? So then we have to be like, what's iniquity? Well, in the world that we're living in right now, the lines are being blurred about what iniquity is. And once we don't know what iniquity is, then we'll be, oh my goodness. What's wrong with likely today? Once we are unable to clearly define what iniquity is, then we are going to be open to be toyed with, so to say. We're going to be open to continue this curses into perpetuity, right? And that's what we're seeing right now in this day and time, that so many lines are being blurred. It's not clear what is what. We made a lot of what is right and wrong have to be predicated upon emotions. And so that's the world we're living in today, that if we even reprove one another, we become so emotionally offended that what it does is it allows for these things to persist. Judah says Satan is low-key using the long guy. For a real, long guy. He went all the way over there now. But what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say, people? Oh, so the breeze. Oh, the breeze blew my bottle down. So essentially, it breaks down to three things. Let me know if I'm gonna have to come back. Is the wind too loud in the top of the microphone? Judah, let me know if the wind is too loud in the top of the microphone. Because I kind of want to go in on this. And I thought I was going to be able to put the thing on my screen, and I'm not. But if it's not too loud, I'll continue. So essentially, in that sentence alone, it tells us what is the basis. You hear me good? What is the basis for a generational curse? It's iniquity. Now, this brings us to a point oftentimes that we don't want to admit. We may say something is a generational curse, but not realize that if it is revisiting our specific family, whatever that may be, whatever that negative reoccurrence may be, we have to also look at the fact that the action that caused this negative reaction is on the behalf of our foreparents or our parents, meaning the sin, because that's what we see in the text. The sin, the iniquity is on the people. So sometimes people say, oh, in the generational curse, it allows for people to be victimized or victimize themselves in the sense of, why is this always happening to us? Why is this always happening to my family? This, that, and not realizing that in some way your family played a role in the initial action that is now attracting this revisitation, if you can understand. So to make it plain, oh no, is that lawn guy again? To make it plain, let's just, and I think I've talked about this in time class, but to make it plain, let's give, for example, your family members were big in business, and they were like the Hershey's or the Rockefellers or whoever, I don't know, right? And however they acquired their fortune was questionable, let's just say, right? Just make up some type of thing, but you didn't necessarily know that, right? So in your lineage, there's entrepreneurship, there's success, but there's also questionable family dealings. Okay, now in present day, you may be the grandchild, great grandchild of those people, right? You may even in some cases inherited a part of their fortune, but for some reason you keep in this lifetime, you keep attracting bad business partners, or you keep attracting people that commit fraud, or you keep attracting whatever it is, and the issue that you're experiencing is around finances, right? And you don't know why, because in your mind you're a good person, and where is this coming from, and I'm so loving and giving, and all people want to do is take advantage of me. This is my understanding of the energy being revisited to the third or fourth generation, meaning if every action has an equal and opposite reaction, to reverse engineer the generational curses is to understand that possibly our foreparents are the ones who initially did the negative act. And this is why the generational curse is being revisited. But you may not be the person who you think warrants this curse or warrants this negative energy. Like, you've not done anything, so why is this the case? And to show you that that thought is not a novel one, we see later on in the prophets, the children of Israel are complaining to the Creator and saying that the fathers eat sour grapes, but the children's teeth are set on edge. Right? So this is a proverb that was in the nation. Like, wait a minute, I didn't do it. Why is this befalling me? This is their consciousness of knowing that those who came before them negatively affected their lives in present day. And they even made up a proverb about it. Right? I wish I could share it all on my screen, but right now I'm going off the dome. So they had a proverb that the fathers, why should they perish for someone else's sins? But earlier on in the text, it already said that the iniquities will be revisited. Judah saying we break the curse by obeying the Creator, right? Yes, we break the curse by doing the opposite of what they did. So if they committed iniquity, then by obedience to the Creator, we're neutralizing to a certain effect the iniquity and bringing the negative into a positive. Okay, but one of the issues about these generational curses is not really understanding the core. So we may get to the leaves and we may get to the stem, but to understand the core is then to like get down in there, is to be helpful in us really breaking free of it, right? So that would take, like I always advocate for, studying studying. It's hot today, y'all see me in this shade, it's hot today. Studying our own particular families, because you have some people who've come in Torah, or you have some Bible believing people who still are under these curses, who will lead you to believe that they, hey, I'm obeying, how come it's not happening? Like the pastor we read about the other day, that we heard the story about, right? The people have the Bible and they know the verses and they're quoting and they're doing all of these things, but it's still not evident that the blessings are manifesting in their life. What's going on? Another thing is that when something is already in motion, it may take some time, even though we make a corrective measure. For instance, braces, right? Someone's teeth may be crooked, and the corrective measure, right, is the obedience, right, to a certain degree. The corrective measure to put the braces on may start the process for the teeth to be corrected. But in the process of time is when we're going to see whether or not and how long it will take for the correction to be made. So basically, the day you put the braces on is not the day that you're going to see your teeth straight. It can take years, it can take months. It depends on what you're trying to fix. And given that to the third and the fourth generation and beyond, we have been recycling this energy. We've been recycling it and recycling and recycling and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. It's going to definitely take some time, some patience, and awareness of what we are digging up and what we're trying to rid ourselves of. And I think to a certain degree, it's disheartening to some people to not think like, all you gotta do is believe, all you gotta do is say the name, all you got, man, no, somebody's lying. There's more to it than that. It's not all you got to do is believe and all you got to do is pray, because our foreparents did something actionable. They effected change in the physical realm by their thoughts, deeds, and actions. Therefore, it's going to take more than all you got to do is believe. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. I'll be hearing that. I'll be like, can we just stop? Can we just not? Let me know your thoughts on that. So, very simply, among other places, it tells you iniquity. And then we can go into what is iniquity and why does iniquity cause curses. Judah says, so I may be doing what pleases the Most High, which is obeying him, but due to the fact that the curse has been going on for X amount of time, I may not see the result blessings for X amount of time. Possibly. Or there's a process of return, like return. Okay, for instance, the this one here running out the thing. For instance, that makes me feel so much better. See, Judah, maybe this was a word for you. For instance, repent means to turn around, right? So let's say you are driving to, I'm in Florida. So let's say I'm driving to Miami, okay? And I'm on this road, I'm midway, I'm in Orlando, but I make a wrong turn. And instead of, when I get to the 95, and so instead of going south on the 95, I get distracted and I start going north. Okay. Now, if we say that repent means to turn around, right? And let's say I travel on that road for 3 hours, like, yeah, and I'm thinking it's going to take me 3 hours to get to Miami, right? And I travel for 3 hours. I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing. Next thing you know, I look up, I'm in Jacksonville. And I'm like, what? Jacksonville? How did I get in Jacksonville? I was traveling for 3 hours. I didn't realize I got on the wrong highway. Long story short, how long is it now going to take me to get from Jacksonville to Miami? Twice as long, because I was halfway there when I was in Orlando, but I repented when I got to Jacksonville. So I'm going to have to come back. Are they loud? Hello, friends. Hello, little random children at the playground. I'm doing a live. So I'm going to have to come back the 3 hours that I went out the way from Orlando, and another 3 hours to Miami. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just a linear illustration of what it looks like sometimes when we're walking back the experiences that those before us set for us. In the same way, it works on the positive. Like I said the other day, if you plant a mango tree and it said that this mango tree could bear for 300 years, in the same way that the one action brought forth this mango tree, you can, and your generations after you, your progeny, can eat off of this mango tree for times to come. So sometimes it takes a minute to turn things around and to get back to the point where we can see the benefits of our actions. Judah says, because I'm trying to break these generational curses and it is not easy. It's not easy. That's why when I see these memes, I'll be like, tell me more. Here comes lawnmower guy again. He on the other side of this little pond lake thing, just making up the most noise. So what I find sometimes discouraging, even in the walk, is the way that people misrepresent healing. They misrepresent the Bible. I saw something, I don't know how true it is, about Creflo coming out talking about, I lied to you about tithes. I was like, I didn't have the time to be like, Creflo, if you really did that, came out about that, is that after you already got all the jets and the mansions and everything you wanted from these people, right? I'm tired of just looking out into the landscape and just seeing how much people are being taken for a ride for whatever the motivation is. I don't know. I think it's weird. But people do it nonetheless. And the reality is, the mass majority of people have an itching ear for the easy, for the thing that seems like it's not going to take too much. They like that kind of stuff at times at 3 o'clock, right? So this is, people often cater to the taste of the people, even if it means not being honest, not being truthful, not being forthcoming. He's too late. The word done hit it. If he admitted he lied, he still ain't said nothing about it. Yeah, he's like, yeah, he lied, but you ain't getting no refund though. Ain't no refund on no tithes. But yeah, so my thoughts on the generation curses being in the Bible, it is definitely there. And unless some reparative work is done, unless we are honestly willing to look at, like Judah is saying, it's what's going on, Queen T. It's not a simple matter. Right, so some people, they be like, oh, breaking these generational curses, and now they got 50 million videos on breaking generational curses and how they rich and buy my course, right? Some people are out here profiting off of other people's insecurities and other people's ignorance to a certain degree. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's discouraging, and then other times it's like, I don't know. So let me know your thoughts on that as it relates to generational curses. If it's already in motion, being revisited, there's another portion within the script. My children are kind of loud on this swing thing. Hello. They are not caring, right? And I'm not getting up either because it's breezy right here. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna run a commercial real quick while I speak to the natives. 1 second. You want a commercial real quick.
This episode is sponsored by Yummy Curry Powder. Go on over to www.theyummycottage.com for your powder today.
All right, we're back. I had to let them know I'm live, like what's really good. So yeah, essentially for those who just joined us, we're talking about the Bible, making note of generational curses on more than one occasion. There is a whole section that, as I grow in this walk for many, many, many years, I realized that constantly reading the curses is also not a good look. Constantly reading the negative curses are also not a good look. This is my thought, right? Because when you write a curse, which is negative energy, that is going to occur when a certain behavior is enacted, right? When you constantly rehearse that thing, energetically, you're speaking this thing into existence, because its words sound power, yes? So being knowledgeable of what happens if you break the law is one thing, but repeating it to yourself constantly on a constant, and not the positive thing, but the negative thing, as I grow and learn and mature, I'm like, wait a minute, is this calling the thing onto yourself? Like every time you run up to a red light, you understand, I'm gonna stop at this red light because, I already know, it will break the law if I go through it. But do you get up every day while you're driving and be like, oh, calling the police to you, calling the popo to you, calling the ticket? Like, so my thought is that a lot of Israelites, a lot of people who come to the Bible through a certain door, yes, the curses are indication of who the people are based on the conditions that they are. It's a sign. It's for a sign. It's a mark upon the people. However, once you understand that mark and once you begin to move through it, once you get to the other side, continuing to look for that as opposed to the blessings that you're supposed to receive, I think highlights it to a certain degree. And a lot of people who's been 10, 20, 30, 40, a lifetime in this way are not manifesting because they're getting their identity from being cursed as opposed to being blessed. Let me know your thoughts on that. That was just a side thought. That was just a sidebar. So yeah, essentially that's my thoughts. I'm not going to stay too long. Let me know if you have anything to say at this juncture. I've said it time and time again. I like to, let me, hold on a second. I've said it time and time again. Now I forgot what I said time and time again because I got distracted. There's a lot going on in my mind, man. It'll come back to me, peoples. I just dropped the link in the box if you have 2 seconds and you want to jump on. Judah says she's in agreement. So if you are not able to wholly turn your ship around, it's like, I think a better example would to be a ship. It takes a minute, and the ship is trying to shuv, right? Which is the word for repent in Hebrew, right? Shuv. So if the ship is trying to return or turn around, how long does it take to turn a ship around? The weight of the ship, the length of the ship, the mass of the ship. You can't just be like you're on a motorcycle. So however long the family line has been experiencing this reoccurring issue or trauma and that will determine what we're dealing with. Is this just 1 generation, 2 generations, 10 generations? We don't know, because the longer that this has been happening is the more it takes to turn this thing around. And we may just be at the beginning where we're realizing, you know what, I don't want to continue to go in this way. So I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna turn around. And how we see it begin to change is when we look at our children's children, and we can begin to see that what happened? You not, what were you doing? Huh? Go see if they're ready. She's over here threatening me with her personages. She's standing under my tree. Y'all see how many trees is out here? Let's show y'all all these trees. But she want to stand right to my tree so that I know that she's hot and that she's ready to go. That's that nonverbal communication they be trying to use on me out here, fam. So hopefully that helps. To recap, I've learned that the length of time that this trauma, this injury has been carried is going to determine how much time it takes for the healing process. Generational curses are outlined in the Bible. The source is iniquity, according to the text. This iniquity is revisited from generation to generation for as long as it's unknown. Another thing, ignorance of the law, what do they say, is no excuse, right? So ignorance of the occurrence does not exempt us from the consequences of the action. So a lot of times, the bad part about it all is sometimes we don't even know why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. Because, the people are not saying, hey, you know what I mean, back in the day, this is what such and such did, and this is why. A lot of times, especially for the so-called black sheep, for the person who's awakening, a lot of times you don't know the extent or depth of to why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, because ignorance does not excuse us from the experience. So we find ourselves caught up in this and not knowing which direction to begin in. So turning around and compliance is helpful, but then we need to get specific so that we can understand what exactly are we correcting. That's why you can go to different doctors. You have the general doctor, then you have the specialist, because you have to know what you're correcting. And you need to be proficient in the area to a certain degree that you're trying to correct. Okay, I dropped the link in the box. I don't know if anybody has anything to say. But that's my thoughts on that. I'm not going to stay too long. Like I said again, 3:13. Let me run one more, and then we're going to rock on out. I did not get to do Marvin Gaye, peoples. My apologies. I have to be sitting down to do the Marvin Gaye one. She's back again. She fake went over there. Now she back. I don't want to show you guys her because she act like she my mama. She's back again, y'all. Definitely check out the Yummy Cottage. What's going on, Truthful? So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. How many people in the crowd, in the audience, are out here breaking generational curses? How many people are out here identifying generational curses? How many people are out here learning about your own personal family history so you know how to navigate your personal journey? How many people are out here taking every day as an opportunity to elevate? Or they got you back in New York again. New York, big city of dreams. Be safe out there. Be careful. I'm about to wrangle these ones right here so I could go to the. I feel pressure, y'all. She, I didn't even put you on there. And she thought I was putting her on it, and she gonna be smiling. Say hi to the camera.
Hello.
Let's let Shy tongue. Come here, Shy. Talk to us about generational curses. What do you know about that?
Please stop putting chicken feet in your stew.
Shiloh, get out of here.
My mother has been traumatized. Please stop.
She gonna talk. I did a funny comedy video yesterday. She gonna talk about please stop putting chicken foot in your soup. She's Shiloh, seriously? So yesterday I did a video. I was feeling funny yesterday, and I did a video about why did Caribbean people put chicken feet in the chicken foot soup. It shouldn't have been chicken foot soup. It should have just been vegetable soup, right? So no feet in the soup. So she over here got jokes because she said, "Mommy, why did you say break generational curses?" And then she asked me, "What? You didn't know that food can be a generational curse?" And so essentially we had that conversation yesterday, and I'm telling her our relationship to food can be a generational curse. This is how you have certain things like diabetes and certain things like certain types of cancer run in the family. Because if the family culture is to eat a certain type of food or to have a certain type of behavior, like to be smokers or to be drinkers, then it may seem as though the uncle and the father and the grandfather all had cirrhosis of the liver, and that's a health-wise, that's a generational curse, but it was predicated upon the choices and the behaviors that they exhibited on a daily. So if everybody has high blood pressure and you look at they got a whole pint of salt in the gumbo, then you and talking about we like it like this. Okay, I bet you do. I bet you like it like that, right? So we can see generational curses revisited physically because the choices that each generation chooses to make on a continual. And so I was having jokes about Caribbean people putting chicken feet in the soup. It was inappropriate. My mother is like, it was for flavor. I was like, what flavor? What flavor were you getting from that old scaly, nasty looking chicken foot? What flavor? Where's the flavor? Talk about if you chop it up, I'm good. I'll take the flavor from the corn, the pumpkin, and the seasonings. I don't need no chicken foot flavor. Just leave it out my soup, please. Thank you very much. Leave it out the soup. And based on the responses that we got, there's a lot of people who did not like chicken feet in the soup. The next time I'm gonna have to talk about this cow feet because cow feet didn't belong in the soup either. It was nasty. You get collagen. No, we don't. We get mad cow disease walking around eating the foot that been all on the floor. I mean, let me not go there. I'm going off course here. Truthful said you had to do the southern accent. Yeah, they be like, we like it like this. This thing ain't got no seasoning. Y'all ain't know I could do the I could do this down south accent all day. What's going on, sis? Let me go ahead and add you to the stream.
Oh,
Ooh, wait, let me put this over here. Go ahead, we are listening. Oh, we see you now.
oh, I look a hot mess. I'm out in the yard and just been working. But I just wanted to say, because this is such a little dear subject to myself, that, yeah, generational curses have, I've been breaking them down because it's like, it got to end somewhere.
Right,
And I don't want to bring my generation in with those same little ways and things that you can't even explain. They just said,
right.
oh, because we've been doing it. No, that's not acceptable. So my
It's not
sisters and I'm
acceptable.
gonna make this short, was
Mm-hmm.
talking about just family members and why we felt that my dad didn't allow us to go and sleep over, even by family members, because, he knew there was always a possibility, of male family members not being appropriate and that kind of thing. And, that was a hard pill to swallow because I loved all my cousins and I never had any particular issue with them, but, we acknowledge that that's why my dad felt probably the way he did, to protect
Right.
us against that. So, it's just a lot of things. Some of the conversations are going to be uncomfortable, but we got to have them.
I agree. I agree. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing. And in breaking that, I think one of the things that you're speaking to is the unsaid, they said the unsaid portion, right? But the next
Yeah.
generation are able to verbalize what
Yeah.
they didn't have the ability to say. Like, this is the reason, because it's still
Absolutely.
there, even though they didn't verbalize it. So now we
Yeah.
can talk openly to our children and
Yeah.
said, this is the reason, right? So it doesn't, we don't
Exactly.
have to play the guessing game. But go ahead.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for having me, and I'm
Thank you
enjoying the
for coming on.
conversation.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah, so I like that portion about having the conversation, and even if it was before not saying something, and now you can sit down and have a discussion. Words get birth, emotions, words validate. Like, in ways that we don't even really until it happens, until we say the thing that needs to be said, we may think, oh, it's just words, what is it going to do? But sometimes the words that other people have said to you are what's binding you, because that's how curses are transmitted. They're spoken. So someone could curse a little child, or somebody can curse a relationship, or somebody can curse a business. um David later on comes in the Psalms and says that an undue curse cannot stand, right? There are in other places, in other cultures, they're very aware of the spiritual implications of the things people say and the way people behave, right? And so some people may be like, oh, that's superstition, that's da, da, da. No, it's understanding to a certain degree. Some may be superstition, so I'm not capping for them, but it's understanding to a certain degree that some of this stuff is because we lack knowledge. For lack of knowledge, the people perish. There is a high level of spirituality that sometimes when we go into the church or we go to certain places, they take your intuition away from you, and then they tell you, oh, just say the name. And you're like, wait a minute, I think I need to do a little bit more. Or, the works are dead and all this stuff like that. It's like, wait a minute, you can't, if I'm looking to improve my health, I can't just say the name. You can't just pray over it and make it clean, which the New Testament comes and says about unclean foods. Just pray over it and it shall be clean. That was a lie. That was a lie. It was a lie. Oh, you know what I'm saying? It was a lie, but I think I'm going off into the this girl. Tell them to come. Well, I promised them to park all week, so we just gonna have to. Shiloh, no, Shiloh, no, Shiloh, not burn out the gas. Give me just go under the tree, man. Sit on under the tree there until we're ready. So somewhere along the line, we were stripped of our intuition and our ability to know that, wait a minute, some don't all the way feel right about, oh, that's because you lack faith, you heathen. And it's like, wait a minute now, wait a minute. Something is not gelling. Something, and it's taking away the ability to discern to a certain degree. Now, I'm not saying that some of our compass is not off and some of the discernment is not discerning, like the math ain't mathing, but discernment is definitely a part of it. So I would say it's in there to understand how they're meted out. Maybe we'll come again and talk about it. I have overviewed it, but today I just wanted to talk about the fact that it's in there, and it's a starting point for us to move from, to understand and how to make our way to the other side of it. So with that said, after I've talked to you all this time in the shadows of the beautiful tree here, I'm gonna go ahead and go. We'll talk again. Oopsie.